Good morning, how are you? Good week. I hope that you're well, you're happy, you're blessed. Thank you so much for being here. Yet another Wednesday. I hope that you've been well the whole of that week. It's 18th. Yes, it's the 18th of June 2025. Karibu sana. My name is Rachel Kahugo, and of course, this is Afya Clinic, where we talk about everything health. And today we're going to talk about something that is very, very special to each and every one of us. And for some reason, the last 2 weeks we've been talking about kids. Yeah, because last week we talked about, prenatal and antenatal. The other week we were having a guest that we are having today. We already know who I'm talking about. And we were talking about the under fives. And I'll be telling you what we'll be talking about today. But even before we get there, is that today we decided to bring this show to you, not from studio, but to just change the set kidogo and the ambience kidogo to make sure that, we get a different taste of Afya Clinic. So this is still Afya Clinic, but not from studio today. Okay? So I'd love to know how your week has been. What are you thanking God for this amazing morning? Talk to us through our numbers, that is 0721 105 105 on WhatsApp, 23814. Our SMS code, which is absolutely free of charge. We're live on Facebook on MBCI TV Facebook page. We're live on YouTube on MBCI TV official YouTube page. And on all social media pages are Rachel Kahugo. Thank you so much for being here. I know that you're going to have an amazing, amazing time. Alright? Today we are talking about pediatric obesity. Why does that happen? Why is it important to make sure that mtoto wako yuko obese? Sometimes we think mtoto akiwa obese kwa sawa, anakula vizuri, ata lose weight as they grow. Doctor atatuambia kama that is how that goes. But I'll be introducing who we're having in a very short time. But before we do that, let me just introduce to you our topic of the day by giving you a small history of what pediatric obesity is. So let's get into the in history segment. I love to talk to you.
In the early 20th centuries, childhood undernutrition was a more pressing concern than obesity, especially in lower-income populations. In industrialized nations, plumpness in children was sometimes considered a sign of health and prosperity. It wasn't until the later half of the century that rising rates of childhood obesity began to gain attention, particularly in the United States. The post-World War II era saw rapid changes in lifestyle, food production, and urban development, which contributed to shifts in dietary patterns and physical activity levels among children. By the 1980s and 1990s, pediatric obesity had become a more significant public health concern. Researchers and healthcare professionals began to document a sharp rise in the prevalence of overweight and obesity among children and adolescents. This increase was likely a combination of factors, including higher consumption of calorie-dense, nutrient-poor foods, greater screen time, reduced physical activity, and environmental influences like food marketing and urban design. The condition was also increasingly associated with early markers of chronic diseases like type 2 diabetes, hypertension, and sleep apnea, previously rare in pediatric populations. In the early 21st century, pediatric obesity has become a more global epidemic. High-income countries continue to grapple with the issue, but the prevalence has also surged in many low and middle-income countries due to rapid urbanization and changes in food availability. Public health strategies have emerged, including school-based interventions, policy reforms, and community initiatives focused on nutrition and activity. Despite increased awareness and preventive efforts, the rates of pediatric obesity remain high, with significant disparities based on socioeconomic status, race, and geography. The ongoing challenge is not only prevention, but also the effective treatment of obesity in children while addressing the broader systemic factors that contribute to its persistence.
Alright, we are back, and of course that's the in history segment, and important to understand kidogo about what that looks like and what pediatric obesity is. And by now you know that it's not a good thing. Sometimes, as I've said to Kians, is that we think kids who are obese or whatever. But also, what is obesity? Ukiona mtoto add hiyo ni obesity, we'll be getting to understand all that from a doctor who's on set already, who is Dr. Jeff Mariki. Thank you so much, Doc, for being with us again.
Thank you.
Umekuaje?
I've been fine.
Yeah.
It's a perfect morning,
Yeah.
a beautiful morning. We thank God for this day.
Asante.
Yeah.
Thank
We are
you.
hoping for the best.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you, thank you.
Tunatoka studio kidogo.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I like the ambience.
Yeah.
Yeah. It looks so cool.
Mm.
Looks so nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
Amazing.
Thank
So
you.
this is Kingdom Apartments. So if you want such a beautiful space to be, if you want something to spend your night, somewhere to spend your night, this is the place to be. So karibuni sana. And of course, for if you want to come visit an Airbnb, we have it's an apartment in short. You can come here with your family, come around to Nakuru, just to spend some time or for a corporate meeting. Our numbers are very open. You can always call in. Nataka ku spend Kingdom Apartments. Short thoughts. Now, today we're talking about obesity, pediatric obesity. But last time, from the conversation that we had 2 weeks ago, we got people asking, what do you mean you have to take a child to the hospital every month, up to 5 years? That discussion really endelea sana.
Yes.
And when people ask so many questions, we thought it's very good for us to help them understand what prenatal care looks like, and the maternal care, and even after you've gotten your baby, how are you supposed to take care of this baby? So we're talking about that last week, and it was absolutely amazing. Yeah. And now today, we're talking about after you've fed this baby vizuri. But sasa tumeanza kukua happy, then it becomes again a problem because tumemfeed tena sana.
Yes.
That is pediatric obesity. In layman's language, what is that?
Okay, let me first say that for pediatric obesity, or maybe childhood obesity, or maybe childhood overweight, it is something that has been so rampant nowadays, mostly in the urban areas. Mostly maybe we find our children, maybe our kids, or our under fives, or even our school going children, they are having more weight compared to their age.
Yeah.
So on how we define, or maybe on how we classify the overweight and obesity, it is based on BMI for age.
Yeah.
So mostly what I can say is that BMI for age, it is based maybe upon your weight, then the age. Are they corresponding as per the WHO growth median reference charts? So I can say for overweight, it is greater than one standard deviation of the growth reference median chart of the WHO. Then as per for the obesity, it is greater with 2 standard deviations of the WHO above the WHO growth reference median charts. Yeah.
Okay. So for a child, when we realize that my baby is obese, what would have caused that?
Okay, nowadays, people tend to think that having a big baby is healthy, that having a big baby is the way to go, that having a big baby are more superior than the other households.
Yeah.
But allow me to break the bone today by saying this, that having bigger weights, or maybe having weights above their age, it has got so many complications, not by then, but even in their future. So it depends with the intake of the food, or either if the child is feeding, or either not feeding. We can also check on other attributes, such as the genetic attributes, maybe from the parents, maybe the genes. Some of them tend to maybe pick the genes from their parents. If they had bigger weights, it can go all the way to the children. But apart from it all, let me first say this, that mostly, or apparently, our kids, through some lifestyle changes, dietary modifications, and all that, it has changed the whole view. So a child, and that's what I was normally saying. The last time I was here, I talked about the growth monitoring and promotion, the clinics, how they are so important. Why should a child be taken to the clinic maybe each and every month? Why is this? Because when you do weight monitoring, you are being told, is the child okay? Is he or she adding weight in the right way? Are they obese, or are they overweight? If yes, or if underweight, what can we do? If yes, if they are overweight, if they are obese, what can we do? So we don't normally dwell mostly on the underweight children, but also those who come obese, those come as being overweight, we also take a key point on them. So mostly give advice, maybe tend to talk to the caregivers, the parents, the mother, and maybe just take a brief history on what they feed, what they take, what they consume at most of their time. Kama ni pale nyumbani, who is there? Either the nanny or the house help, or maybe the relatives, and anabaki na nani. What is particularly being fed at home? Yeah, that's the first step we take.
Okay.
Yes.
And you've mentioned about the clinics, and I'll just eat this again. But that is very, very, very important. Sometimes we feel like as long as mtoto wako sawa, we don't need to take them to hospital.
Sure.
But as you've mentioned, is that sometimes there's a
Exactly.
and you don't even realize.
Yeah.
It's very important for us to take them to hospital.
Yeah.
But maybe apart from our feeding habits, and maybe let's just start the feeding habits kidogo. What are some of the particular feeds zenye tukipea mtoto most probably ata-avoid sana?
Okay, I normally say this. There's no particular feed that maybe will feed the baby and maybe be obese or either be overweight.
Yeah.
It just depends on maybe what are we being keen on. Like mostly, let me say for the under 6, if they're being given too much prenatal feeds, what will happen? Their weight tends to increase at a very bigger rate, because the feeds tend to increase the weight at a very large span.
Yeah.
Now our child or maybe our baby is from 6 months old and above. So what are we giving them? Is either we're giving them the local nutritious food that we have maybe in our local markets, the bananas, the arrowroots, you can see them, the vegetables and all that, or also some of them in the urban areas, they go for the junk foods. Let me not mention them by name, but by saying that, but they are junk foods. They are junk foods.
Yeah.
So I'll say one thing, that currently in a society, it is not costly to feed a baby.
Yeah.
It is not expensive to bring up a baby in the right way or maybe the right manner. It just depends with what are we giving, what are we feeding, and at what time, and at what particular age. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's our key concern for now. But then, even as we speak on it, even as we try to eradicate all this hearsay from the society, that having a big baby is a healthy way, that having a bigger baby is the best way to go. No. So I'll just say nowadays, let's be so keen that we're feeding our children, that we're feeding our school-going children, our kids, even the under 5s. It's something very crucial, because I normally say one thing: if you mess around with the first list of life maybe for our children, then that's it all. So this is a very crucial time. It's a very critical time that we should be very keen. We should be so much informed on what to give and what not to give.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And you mentioned something very important: the first 1,000 days. For a baby.
Yes.
I remember there's a time we did that series here with Dr. Arthur. I hope that you got it very well. But if not, that is why we're having this conversation.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, apart from the feeding habits, what else would be the cause of a baby being obese?
Okay, number one, we have the genetical factors.
Yeah.
Right from the parents. If they tend to have maybe a bigger weight, some of these genes, they go transfer to their children and all that. That's
Is
number
there
one.
something you can do about that?
Yes, we can do something. Maybe what you can do, as this child grows up, maybe you can try to curb off maybe some of the feeding habits, to modify the data intake and all that, dietary modifications. We can also try to incorporate maybe physical activity to our children and all that. Yeah, because at most we have seen that obesity comes with so many complications. First of it all being physical complications, and then secondly we have what we call the psychological complications. So these two and two, they go handy. So maybe as we continue, I'm going to outline more, or maybe give a brief insight of what are some of the physical challenges, what are some of the physical complications, what are some of the psychological challenges, psychological complications and all that. Yeah, but mostly apparently, we can say it can be maybe because of genetics, maybe from our parents, but then secondly too, also on the types of feeds that you're feeding our children. Yes.
Okay. There are people who say that kids who don't play, or kids who they don't move a lot, they also tend to be really huge.
Yes.
Unakula tu vizuri, but you don't really move quite as much. Would that be a cause of obesity for kids?
Nowadays, we have what we call the technology insight. Most of our kids nowadays are not going to play around. What happens? Watching Cocomelon, cartoons for 24/7, they're just there. So they don't even care what's happening outside. So even if you ask a child, oh, the news yesterday, and they are like, they don't know. But this child, or maybe this children, they know all the episodes, maybe of Cocomelons, Jim Jams, all sorts of cartoons that we tend to know. So I normally tell our parents one thing, that what happens when our children are not active, their weight just stagnates. Their weight just increases. So when we promote physical activity, our child becomes so healthy. So when we don't promote physical activity, what happens? Some of our children, they end up having so many complications. Some of them being musculoskeletal complications, like joint pains. We also have what we call the cardiovascular issues, like breathing problems, irregular sleep patterns, and all that. So there are so many complications. There are so many challenges maybe that face our children, maybe with the obesity and overweight children.
Okay, I see. And we're talking about some of the myths and the misconceptions that surround the kids who are obese. Because sometimes you have a lot of myths that surround, and people have many ways of making sure that the baby and really quite sour, but sometimes there's the wrong ways, and that's why we're having this conversation today. Now, how does pediatric obesity differ from the normal adult obesity? The adult obesity is not normal?
That's a very good question. Let me say this, that at times, even the pediatric obesity, it transcends to the adulthood obesity. So some of the adulthood obesity, it comes due to lack of physical activity, or either even the environment, and also your working schedule and all that. But from the early childhood ages, mostly it depends with number one, the genetical factors that we have just talked about, and then number two, what are we feeding our children? Then number three, behavioral change. Like in terms of behavior, some of our parents, they are so skeptical. They say that our kids shouldn't play outside. Like the house contains everything. It has got all the playing items, maybe like the balls, they are just there, the television is there. So technology is all over. So when they don't just play around, they're just at home, watching football, watching games, watching cartoons, what will happen? And they're just feeding. And what normally happens, those type of kids or maybe children, they tend to feed a lot. I don't know what happens. They're just at home, they just pass around, there's a snack here, they just bite. For some time, there's a snack there, they just bite. But what happens? They are not doing any physical activity. So for pediatric obesity and overweight, most dominantly, it happens because of how we are bringing up our children and all that. But for adulthood obesity, it's a lifestyle change. It's upon you. It's upon me. What can I do? Either to improve myself, to have a good weight, and also to progress well. It depends.
But again, many people, and I know today we're not talking about adult obesity.
Yes.
But many people say it's very hard to lose weight. But it's really hard to lose weight. As much as they say that it's a choice, which can make a choice indicate that you have to lose weight and that is it.
Yes.
But why is it usually very hard for adults to lose weight?
I'll say one thing. In terms of losing weight in an adult manner, it's all about self-discipline. And also when you do the meal planning and all that, when you do a meal plan, maybe for a person who is obese or maybe who is overweight, and you just want them maybe to lose their weight, you have to tell us something that is very articulate for them. Maybe you can start with a meal plan. Also, you can try to maybe bring up a physical activity that is very friendly to them. And number two, also have to bring counseling on board. Because what normally happens is that maybe most of them, they're not happy with their weights. They're not happy with how they look. So they end up being depressed. They end up being stressed because of all these factors. So we work with these three changes. Number one, the dietary changes. Number two, the physical activity incorporation. Then number three, the psychological part of it. So when you advise these people maybe on how to live well, how to live healthy, and just tell them that losing weight is not expensive. Also, it is not hard. It is something very easy, by the way. So it depends with you on a personal perspective. How can I do this? If it is well tailored, well explained, well guided, then it becomes so easier. But what happens in another situation, we have what we call the ignorance perspective, and also the Dr. Google. You can just maybe go somewhere with friends. Maybe you are just told maybe to avoid, okay, you have just been told either you avoid or limit the sugary drinks or the sugary foods. But what happens, you're going to, maybe you're going to a party, there are some drinks that are being offered there. There are some foods that are being offered there. Maybe some of them are so fatty, they contain the fatty foods, the sugary drinks. What happens when you consume them maybe for too much or maybe for too long, you end up adding weight. So we normally tell them that self-discipline is key. So if you want to lose weight, it's upon you. Are you proud of yourself? Have a target weight. Have a target maybe for yourself. Just tell yourself, that's my place. Maybe right now I'm 75 kgs. Right now I'm 75 kgs, and I want my target weight to be either 65 or either 68. And ideally, nutritionally, what normally say, we say that in 2 weeks' time, or either depending on the person, physical activity, you must lose at least half a kg. Half a kg.
Also, don't lose more.
Don't lose more. Let it just be gradual. It should be steady and gradual. Not something fast, because people will be like, what has happened? You know, okay, the start nowadays will tend to be maybe like, this guy is sick. This person is sick. Because right now, kitambo alikuwa mkubwa na sasa amekuwa mdogo. So all these are just myths and misconceptions. But if you have something that guides you very well, from point A to point Z, then you are good to go. It is very easy. But remember one thing, self-discipline is key.
Okay. Now, let's talk about the complications that come with being obese. Let's start with the pediatric obesity. What are some of the short-term and the long-term complications?
Thank you so much. That's a very good question. I said earlier about the physical complications and the psychological complications. The physical part of it, that most of our children maybe, or most of our kids, what normally happens to them, they feel as if they are just like isolated. Why? Maybe, for instance, if you're going either to a daycare or nursery school, or just maybe a school just nearby your home place. What normally happens is that maybe you find that those big children, maybe with bigger weights, who are obese or overweight, other kids tend to bully them through insults like wewe ni mkubwa sana, umenona sana, ujui unakaaje, vitu kama hizo. So such words, they tend to give our children, or maybe our kids mostly, the physical abuse of it. And also it tends to be more of psychological compared to physical. So number one aspect of the physical aspect of it is we have the musculoskeletal challenges, or maybe complications. Number one being that too much weight, when it's exerted either to our joints, what normally happens is that they complain too much. Because whenever there is too much weight, there are joint pains. We have number two. Number one, you have joint pains. Then number two, you have the cardiovascular complications, like breathing problems. Like we have asthma. Also, we have the sleep apnea, whereby they have irregular sleep patterns and all that. So it's at times.
How is that related?
Because I normally say one thing: if you have a very big weight, maybe you are heavy. At times sleeping, it doesn't come easily, not compared to maybe to the other children, and it's something that I've seen in my family setting, whereby they tend to have sleep patterns. So unapata halali that enough, yani anasumbuka sana ndo apate usingizi. So comparing that child maybe to the normal child, you can see that there's a very big gap and there's a very big difference. So that's the physical aspect of it. Then to the psychological part of it, number one, you have stress. Number two, you have depression. And why do they have stress and why do they have depression? It's because one thing, when they are stressed, it is because maybe of the hearsays that they hear maybe from their friends, that they are just saying that wewe ni mkubwa kama kitu fulani, wewe umenona sana, wewe unakaa hivi, wewe atacheza na wewe. So that's the psychological part of it. So what happens, they tend also to be so bullied by other children. They are bullied. Kanono, you know such names. Anaitwa majina kama Kanono, Kabuda, vitu kama hizo. So some of them, some of them they can accept the names, because some of them they are very happy when they call that those names. But for some, they tend not to take those names maybe lightly. So they end up being stressed and also being depressed.
Actually, most of them don't even take the names as a joke.
Yeah.
Because even the people who are referring to them as that,
Sure.
they know why they're doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's more of body shaming.
Exactly.
It is not right.
Yeah.
Let's
So when it goes maybe for a long time, you find that even these children, even going to school, it starts maybe becoming an issue.
Yeah.
They tell either they tell their parents or their caregivers, "We are not going to school." Why? Because we were insulted. Why? Because you are Tulito Majina.
Yeah.
Because of that such names, because maybe such insults and all that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I hear you. Oh, okay, that's very heavy, and I hope that as far as also learning, because we really love our kids.
Sure.
But sometimes we're not able to take care of them, or we think we're loving them by giving them all the tabs and making sure that wanakwanga tu wakiwatch daily, alafu wanakuwa overweight, alafu sasa wanakuwa introverts. And some people wanakwanga introverted, but the thing is they don't want to go out to play because they know what happens.
Yeah.
So as parents, take care of the kids vizuri sana. I will be taking a look at the box to just get to see what people are saying about the same. Is it okay for kids to be overweight? Ama watapungua with time.
Sure.
Yeah. And all that takes us to the lifestyle that we're supposed to lead as for the kids, as parents for the kids. What are we supposed to do? But also, how would you prevent that from happening? We've said about copula vizuri and all that, but especially for the people who you said it's genetical. That's the name, yeah? It's genetical. What would you do to make sure that mtoto hatakuwa obese? As much as mama and baba, what you can tell the weight, what would you do to prevent obesity from coming in?
Thank you so much. So the first thing, ideally, what I can normally say, it can maybe help to change all this. Number one, you can start by promoting physical activity.
Okay.
This comes hand in handy when you want to prevent our children maybe from adding too much weight, maybe for them ending up being obese or overweight.
Yeah.
So how can we do this? How can we promote physical activity? Step number one, we can try to either incorporate physical activity in a manner which is very friendly. For instance, a school-going child, maybe they have just performed their exams, they have scored so good marks and so good grades. So instead of maybe taking them maybe to joints, maybe to have fun, to eat junks, and maybe to eat more sugary foods, or maybe to eat and drink maybe more sugary foods, what can we do? Surprise them. Buy them either a bicycle or a ball. Something that maybe will keep them active during the weekends. So if maybe for them either something like a bicycle compared to a candy, what will happen? So that bicycle, whenever they cycle, they keep active, they keep fit, they lose weight. Number two, when you buy them even a ball, when they play around, when they come running, they are playing football, they are very active, they are very busy with friends. Even that interaction itself is a therapy to losing weight. Yeah. Okay. So we have to. So the first point is that maybe we try to be friendly with our children, give them things that are very healthy centered. Number one, you can buy them a bicycle. Number two, football, something like a ball. Number three, just have the jumping ropes. Yeah. Back at home, in the evening hours, maybe after dinner or after supper, take a rope with them. The father and the mother and the child is there. They're jumping ropes. So by doing that together, it promotes good behavior and also weight loss. Number three, something to do with technology. Nowadays in our homes, we have the televisions. And we can see that our kids nowadays, they are even being bought phones at a very tender age. A child has a phone. So why should you buy a child a phone at that tender age? No. Even if they are learning, but at times you can't monitor what they watch 100%. So today there are these sites, then the next minute they are somewhere else, because nowadays kids are so cunning. So you can be able to fast track and maybe check on what is happening at either the tablets or the phones. So even for televisions, you can have what we call the parental locks. Like some of our televisions nowadays they are so advanced. So you can lock them either to only study subjects, or maybe study programs and all that. Also the physical programs, you have seen them, maybe kuna wale wanaona watu wakikimbia, people doing athletics and all that, so they assist. And also in some homes you can try and also remove the TV from your living room completely. It happens.
Okay.
Yeah. But now that depends from the parental perspective, because kuna wenye wanasema mimi TV ikiwa pale hata kama nile homework haifanyiki, but kama haiko anafanya homework. Okay. So at times you can just try, maybe you can just say, let me go hard, I can just be hard on them for a while, for them to make sure that that their behaviors, they are going on well. But you can do that, buy a bicycle, buy a ball, get a rope, skip together, do the exercise together. You can also go for swimming together. So all these activities, they help in weight loss. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Works well. Works absolutely well. Now, let's hear from the people. What are some of the things that they do to just make sure that either themselves, they lose weight, or the kids, they lose weight, or for someone who they've seen somewhere and they know this person wants to lose it, what would be their idea of what they should do? And then we'll see how that goes. Okay?
Thank you.
Now let's take the vox pops. We see what you think or you know about losing weight and why obesity isn't a good thing. Yeah? So let's take the vox pop break and then we'll be coming right back.
Okay, to lose weight, it's a journey. Fast. It's a journey ambayo ni pole pole. Juu huwezi ku lose weight na uone matokeo kesho. So lazima pia mindset kwanza. Mindset yako ikuwe sawa kwanza, ujiset useme it's a process. So first key tunasemanga diet ni 80%. Your diet is 80%. Then exercise inakupe 20%. So lazima ukuwe on a diet na on exercise, both lazima ucombine. Yeah.
Ni kitu ya kwanza, jambo la kwanza mtu astahili afanye ni mazoezi kama press ups, kukimbia, kupiga gym na mengineyo.
Kukula chakula yenye haina mafuta mingi, alafu unafanya practice.
Ndatumia example yangu. For me, every time nikitoka workplace yangu, sipandi mat, mi utembea. Nika distance, but so mi prefer kutembea, inanifanya nikuwe fit. So nataka nikikula junk, of which mi ni fan wa junk. Nikula junk lunchtime mingi, so nikitembea hizo calories zote naona kama zinaishanga. Juu nafikaga home kana nasikia njaa. So mi kwangu, for me I'll say I walk. Instead of kupanda mat, I normally walk, of which inasaidia ku remove hizo calories za junk food in my system.
Sikule chakula kingi sana. Halafu kisha kula hiyo chakula kidogo, ufanye mazoezi. Unafanya mazoezi, yani ukikula usikae sana. Ukisha kula unafanya mazoezi kidogo kidogo.
Kufanya exercise, kuenda gym, kukimbia na kuangalia your diet.
So that is it. I have this question. What is something that adults should do mostly? Because, for kids, it's easy to at least manage them. Yeah. But for adults, you have the will, you have a choice, you know what to do. So for the adults, what is one major complication that you've seen from adults who are, overweight or obese?
The number one challenge, most of them, they don't adhere to dietary changes. So some of them opt to go for surgeries or also to go for the medication way. Yeah, we have the medication that maybe they can take to try and make them lose weight. Yeah. So some of them
that's a lot on TikTok.
Yeah.
What is the side effect for that?
For the medications, some of them tend to have cardiovascular issues and also some other health complications, particularly to our women, like the POC syndrome and all that. We also have some types of cancers due to prolonged use of the medications. So I normally say one thing, that being precise is the best way to go. Okay. We can try all our level best to go for ways that are very friendly. Number one, when you change our feeding habits, when you advance our lifestyle changes and all that, then number 3, we try and promote physical activity. Everything will go well.
Yeah.
But if you can choose to go for the either for the surgery, because some of them are going for the surgeries, and also some of them maybe are on long-term medication use.
Yeah.
It's up to you. But just know one thing, that something that comes so easily, it has an effect.
Yep.
So just go the right way, even if you take maybe a long route, but it's the best way.
Yeah.
It's the best way ever.
Yeah.
So try to change your dietary lifestyle, and also try to improve on your physical activity. I've seen people waking up very early. Maybe if you go to work at 8, spare 2 hours or maybe 3 hours. Just wake up early in the morning. Either at 4, you can go to the gym. You can run along the society. People are running around the communities, maybe for 1 hour. So, and also you can have something that you track. Then have a record of everything that you are doing, in particular to your own aim, or maybe to your own goal, or maybe to your own target. Okay. So you cannot just have a target, or maybe a goal, or an aim, without having a record of everything that you are doing. So, like have a diary. Like let's say, for instance, today is on Wednesday. I've just woken up very early. At 6 a.m. I hit the road today. Today I'll just run maybe for like 2 kilometers or maybe 10 kilometers. Then tomorrow I'll go to the gym, either for like 1 hour or either 45 minutes. And then to the other day I'll just go for swimming. So have a very well tailored physical activity schedule that will help you adapt to the weight management. It comes so well. Then for the dietary impact of it all, you can do one thing: have a meal plan that is well articulated. From morning to evening, what can I consume in the morning? What can I consume at snack time? What can I also consume at lunch time? Also snack. Maybe what can I snack at 4, and also all the way to the supper time. Some of them are even doing 1 meal a day or 2 meals a day. You can also try fasting if you are good at it. It depends with you on a personal level. But I can say one thing: if you can try to maybe try and fix all this in one basket, the physical aspect of it, the dietary aspect of it, and also the lifestyle aspect of it, you're good to go. Okay.
Perfect. So let's take a very short break. I said is not together with us, then we'll be coming right back. But just to remind you is that today we're talking about pediatric obesity. But we've also touched on some of the complications and some of the things that you're supposed to do for you to lose weight even as an adult. And I know that will be of help to you as well. So our numbers are very open. That is 0721 105 105 for WhatsApp, 23814. Our SMS code is actively free of charge. We're live on Facebook on NBC ITV Facebook page. We're live on YouTube on NBC ITV official YouTube page. So in the panel, you'll be able to get your feedback. If you have any question, please feel free. And as we wind up, we'll be able to also share the contacts of the doctor. So if you need to ask any questions, or if you need to take your kids for checkup, that would be the best place to go. All right. So let's take a very short break. We'll be coming right back in a minute.
MBCI Television, transforming lives.
Ni mnyama mgani ako na moyo 3?
Mbwa.
What?
Mbwa.
The 5th commandment kwa Biblia ni gani? The 5th commandment.
Be careful, huh?
At the 5th.
Bombastic side eye.
The 5th commandment.
The 5th commandment.
Hey, y'all, come look at this.
Do not steal.
Vitamin C iko kwa machungwa na vitamin F
is about to go down.
Kwa jua.
The 5th commandment ama commandment ya 5 ni gani?
Wa.
Upende mwingine.
I am disappointed in you.
Gani?
Na kwa Luka 52.
Tunga sentensi kutumia neno machela.
Kijana sugu alitiwa machela.
Eh?
Kijana sugu alitiwa machela.
Nataka unitungie sentensi kutumia neno machela.
Alifanikiwa na machera. Alifanikiwa na machera.
Watu wa Nakuru mpo? Jukiwa General Agency sasa imekaribia. We are among top registered property managers in Kenya, and we've been partnering with property owners for over 20 years and have happy clients. At Jukiwa, we are proud to be the trusted partner for many landlords and landladies. We give the expected rent on desired date and also give advances up to 10 times the monthly rental income. Jukiwa also has an indemnity to compensate its clients in case anything happens. Choosing a property manager is not just about finding a collector of rent, it is about securing a partner who will protect your investment, grow its value, and give you peace of mind. Jukiwa is a trusted partner that has earned trust from the diaspora community. Tembelea ofisi mpya hapa Nakuru inayopatikana Gatehouse 6th floor room 603 au piga simu kwa 0795 697 313 au 0743 227 881. Waweza tembelea matawi yetu Nairobi Head Office, State House Avenue, Tetu Apartment Block C, Room 5. Matawi mengine ni Nyeri, Malindi, Meru, Kitengela, Kasarani na sasa Nakuru. Karibu.
MBCI Television, transforming lives.
After that very short break, thank you so much for staying. This is MBCI TV ambapo tunabadilisha maisha by the grace of God. And of course, the show on air is the one and only Afya Clinic, where we talk about everything health. And today we're here with Dr. Jeff, and he's helping us unpack this particular topic of pediatric obesity. Doc, there's something in your sana, and maybe it's good for us to talk about this. For kids who are obese, are they predisposed to getting diabetes?
Yes, very easily.
And how is that related?
Very easily. We have what we call the insulin resistance. When they tend to have a big body, what happens? And then they tend to eat more. We have that insulin resistance. So when you have that insulin resistance, they end up having what? Type 2 diabetes. Yeah.
What is type 2 diabetes?
Type 2 diabetes, it is the type of diabetes may be acquired from our normal lifestyle changes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So it depends what are we doing? What are we into? Okay. Is it maybe eating too much sugary foods, not having physical activity and all that? Okay. But for type 1, it may be some of the babies, so maybe they were born with maybe diabetes and they have to go with it. Okay. So it's a genetic one. But for type 2, it comes due to lifestyle changes. Okay. Yeah.
Can that be cured? Can it be like gone?
No. It is just managed.
Diabetes ikikuja ni hivyo.
Imekuja. Once it is there, so just manage diabetes, nothing else.
Too?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We should have a conversation around that.
Diabetes, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So diabetes, once diabetes is a condition whereby it's an NCD. Yeah. It's a non-communicable disease. So it can't be communicable. Maybe I can't maybe give it to you, but by what I do, it can maybe take too much of it, maybe nipate diabetes. So once imekuja, so we just manage it. Maybe we manage through medication, through diet, and also through physical activity. Okay. Yes.
Very soon we're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
That's very important.
Sure.
All right. Let's get to look at some of the myths that's around pediatric obesity and what people think about the same. So let's get into the mythbusters. And the first mythbuster that we're having today is that baby fat always goes away as children grow older. Is that true?
Yeah, it is true. But I'll say one thing, it depends with the physical activity of the baby.
Yeah.
If they are physical active, it will go fading away. But if they're not physical active, what will normally happen? Wanakatu.
So the baby fat is not going away because of the age. It's going away because of what you do as you grow.
It's a matter of even as for today, it depends. Today we are big, tomorrow we are small. So all these attributes, they come along because of what are we doing. Either the physical part of it, or number 2, the dietary part of it, or number 3, the behavioral change are part of it. So it depends. One, you have the behavioral change, the physical activity part of it, and also the dietary part of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I see. On to the second one is that obese children are just lazy and they eat too much.
Let me see, no.
Mhm.
Because one thing I've said, some of them, some of the obesity and the overweight, maybe aspect of it is from maybe from our genetics, maybe from our parents. It is something that maybe it is in it, so it is passed to our children. So by being there, I can't just say that for them being obese or maybe for them being overweight, it can come because of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I hear you. On to the third one is that putting children on strict diets is the best way to manage obesity.
Yes, it can, but also remember one thing: let us also promote physical activity. Yeah, these two go hand in hand. Yeah, you are eating well, but also make sure that you are doing exercise.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it has to be the two of them.
Exactly.
And would you just have one if I decide that Mimi, I'm not good with activities, yeah, but I will check on my diet and I'll be intentional with my diet? Would that work?
Now, it will depend on one thing, and I've said one thing: if you want to lose weight, you have what you call your target weight. That's the first thing you should know.
Okay.
So, depending or maybe according to your target weight, what is that weight that maybe you want to attain? Let's say, for instance, you are 70 and want to come down all the way to 60.
Yeah.
Now, according to your own preference, or maybe according to your own choice, you can decide either to go for the long dietary way or also for the physical activity way.
Yeah.
But what normally happens is that maybe for those who tend to go for the physical activity way, they tend to consume so much foods. They tend to consume so much portions. Why is this? Because maybe they have just been active. Now, when they're back to their homes, or maybe when they're back to their settings, they tend to consume so much. Because one thing, there's a lot of energy that has been lost. You can see also they have struggled either all that. So a lot of energy has been used.
Yeah.
So for them to gain that energy back, what happens? They tend to eat too much.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So when it comes to the dietary part of it, always ensure that matters to do the portion size.
Yeah.
The portion of the carbs, the vegetables, the proteins. It should be in a way whereby that it is well tailored, it is well balanced to ensure that your weight is maybe at its target.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. And on to the fourth, which will be the last for today, is like physical activity alone can fix pediatric obesity. I think that you've talked about.
Yeah.
That utaenda ufanye physical activity, uchoke sana, uliokule sana.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's someone, but right now I know they're working on their weight. Now walikuwa wanacheka sana, should be somewhere last week. And she was telling me, Rachel, vile niliamka, nikakimbia, so she does the morning run. Alafu nikafika home, I was so tired, I need to go to work, and they took 1 liter of milk. In the morning, I'm like, so unaenda kukimbia kwa nini? Wewe ndio kukimbia alafu kuje 1 liter of milk. Need to do better. And I'm not talking about anyone in particular.
Yeah, sure.
But if you're there and you're guilty as charged, well, you know. But let me ask, would milk be, and maybe this is a yes or no, you'll tell us, would milk be maybe something that someone would use, one, if you want to add weight, or two, they should cut if you want to cut on their weight?
So for milk contains lactose,
Yeah.
which is the sugar in milk. Then number two, milk also contains some grams of protein.
Yeah.
So it's a good blend since it is easy to break. It is not bad, by the way.
Yeah.
But then compared to something like either the fleshy foods like the meats, fish, beef, and also for poultry, milk is a good source since milk doesn't take long to break, so it's very okay.
Yeah.
Milk is fine.
Also milk is fine.
Milk is very good. Yeah.
So they can take milk. It's fine.
Sure.
Iko sawa. Can take milk. But si mingi tena sana. Even surely, you say that You can't go extreme with anything. You have to be very moderate. Yeah. Now, what are some of the myths? Because you just talked about some of the myths, but from you, as you have been practicing, and I know you've been seeing a lot of kids, what are some of the myths that you faced, where that from either the kids themselves or even from the parents that surrounds the issue of pediatric obesity?
Some of them say that having a big body generally is a good set of life.
Yeah.
That's the first one. Number two, exactly. Number two, we have that having a big body, we are rich. Number three, that having a big body, we are immune to health problems and health issues. You see that tukiwa wakubwa hatugonjeki haraka. Si kama ule ambaye ako mkonde anagonjeka haraka. But mimi nikiwa mnene, siwezi gonjeka haraka. That's number three. Number four, wanasema that having a big baby who is obese or maybe overweight, it's a good way of life.
Yeah.
Like people just appreciate you. Kuna mtoto mrembo, ni mkubwa vizuri, nini kama, but they just don't know the complications that maybe may arise as time goes by.
Okay.
Yes.
And maybe a very unique thing that people ask about obesity. How would you know if you're obese or you're just big? Because the people that are big, and maybe you correct us on that, the people that are big but they're not obese. How would you measure that? And I know you probably mentioned it as you were starting, but maybe for someone who's joined us just now, how would you tell that as much as I am, say, 60, I'm not obese?
So we do what we call the BMI, the body mass index. We take the weight and the height and say maybe see if they're proportional.
Yeah.
Some of us tend to have a big weight, but the height is short. Okay. So what happens? You are overweight. But when you have maybe a weight that is proportional and then you are tall, you end up being normal.
Okay.
You're not obese and also you're not overweight. So the BMI aspect of it will just tell us if you're okay or not okay.
Yeah.
If you're obese or not obese. If you're overweight or not overweight, and if you're normal or not normal.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And for someone, after you just say that, and someone says that now realize that my baby is actually obese, and they want to start the journey of exercising daily, what is the normal exercises? And I know that you mentioned some of them, but what are some of the exercises that a parent can make sure toto anafanya on a daily? Something that a child would do daily.
Number one, you have what we call walking. Walking for around 30 minutes or 20 minutes, something very okay. Number two, you have running. You can take short runnings.
Yeah.
Number three, you have cycling, which is very smart.
Yeah.
Number four, we also have what we call playing football. Then for number five, you have what we call the skipping of ropes at home with our parents and all that. So all these go hand in hand. But also ensure that us as parents or us as caregivers, we are there to offer the support.
Yeah.
Don't just tell them, take that bicycle or maybe take that rope or maybe take that ball and go and play.
Yeah.
Go and play with them. Yeah. So when you go and play with them, maybe when you go, you can play with them, you can cycle with them, you can walk with them, you can swim with them. It becomes so friendly, and also it is family centered.
Yeah.
So all these non-baskets will aim in weight reduction. Yes.
Okay. How would the parents talk to the child about losing weight without making them feel like the self-esteem is going down?
I know it is not easy.
Yeah.
Because one thing, what normally happens, like you can't control them. Some of our children nowadays, they just eat whatever is being served.
Yeah.
So what can we do? The first number one rule, we can always ensure that in our kitchen setup, whatever meals we are preparing, they are diverse.
Okay.
They have got all, they are balanced. So in terms of portions, the carbs, the vegetables, the proteins, the fruits, the vegetables, they are all balanced.
Yeah.
Point number two, if maybe we used to take our kids either for the candies and all that, so we can just try and cut it off at once or maybe slowly. If you used to maybe to come home with candies, you can just maybe now you can come home either with something very friendly.
Yeah.
Either bring a bicycle for them as a surprise. They'll be so happy.
Yeah.
Even hata kuja nyumbani next time, hata angalau mkuja na nini, because they are very anxious whenever they see the bicycle.
Yeah.
So they become so active.
Yeah.
So all these things, I normally say one thing, they are from parental affiliations. So it depends with us as parents, with us as caregivers. What are we doing to either influence our children, maybe on weight management and all that? So number two, let's change so much on the data part of it. We do what we call the dietary modification. We modify our children's diets. Then number three, we have the physical activity. We always ensure that we promote physical activity through all types, either be it cycling, football, running, walking, and swimming. Then number five, the behavioral change. If maybe you're a parent who used to come home with maybe a candy or either sweets or maybe chocolate and maybe also all sorts of maybe of those things, maybe the junks. Next time you come home, come with something friendly. You can come with a ball, a bicycle, and all that. So when you combine a behavioral change, physical activity, and the dietary part of it, everything becomes so well.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I hear you. So how would you incorporate the teachers? Because most of the time, and we've even had a parent say that watoto kwa shuleni more than wanakuwa nyumbani. So how would you incorporate the teachers and maybe the community just to help a child who's obese get back to their normal weight?
That's a very good question. Number one, I think we can have what we call the physical activity programs in our society. Like right now, we have children, maybe they are in football clubs. So we can also try to register our children in the football clubs or the cycling clubs. Yeah. So it depends with the society.
Okay.
That's number two. Number three, we can do what we call the food demonstrations. Like just tell our children what is healthy and what is not healthy. Either by pictures or by tutors, by some videos and all that. So by doing all this in one basket, everything becomes so well educative, they become so well informed. So next time even they do all this, they have the knowledge that they know that we are told that eating this is not healthy, but doing this is healthy. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what are some of the, because you've mentioned what they should do activity-wise, but you know that as parents you pack snacks for the kids. So what are some of the healthy snack options?
We can do fruits.
Fruits again.
Yeah, you can do fruits, you can do vegetables. What else can we do? You can do salads, they're very healthy. And also, we can do water. Water is very essential by the weight management. So make them carry a water bottle to school. Yeah, they have a water bottle, they have a fruit, either like an orange or a banana or a piece of pawpaw or an apple. It is very okay. Yeah. Compared to packing chocolates and packing candies and packing cakes, you can pack what? You can pack a banana, you can pack an apple, you can pack a pawpaw, and then you can give them water to drink. Yeah.
Interesting.
Exactly.
So apart from fruits, I know I'm being such a parent right now.
Exactly.
But apart from fruits and water, is there anything that maybe you've come across or as a doctor that you'd recommend that this is a snack that a child would take to school and eat and comfortably not worry about that?
Right now, it depends on the glycemic index. And the glycemic index is whereby you say that some foods, they tend to release so much sugars to the body once they are consumed, the glycemic index. So for instance, we have what we call the locally foods. You can pack for them something like arrowroot, ndoma, or ngwashe, or matoke, something, or boiled bananas, so the plantains. They are very healthy. They are very good. Yeah. So if maybe at that time maybe don't come, I can't go for fruits. You can go for the plantains, the boiled bananas. You can go for arrowroots. You can go for ngwashe. Also you can go for what have I said about the? We've said about you can go for the ndoma, ngwashe, and cassava. But always ensure that if their school doesn't provide either, at times when they carry maybe, if not in a hot pot, if they consume them maybe when they are too cold, it brings acidity to them. So as they go with that issue of hyperacidity and all those complications. So let's try our level best. If you are giving all these types of foods, let's ensure that you have the hot pots, which are small in size, that maybe you can just maybe try and preserve the temperature of the food. Yes.
Okay, I hear you. At what point should a parent see a doctor because of the weight of the child?
So at what point?
At what point mzazi anatakana kwanza kuforward it?
Once you just know, or maybe once you realize that maybe your child or maybe your baby is overweight or obese, that's the first step you should take to see a doctor
But
for
how
concern.
would you know?
We talked about taking our children to for the monthly clinics, for the weight monitoring clinics each and every month. So if you are a parent who is very consistent with the monthly clinics,
Yeah.
it'll be so well with you because you'll be able to track your and monitor your child's weight right from birth to 5 years,
Yeah.
and either tell if they're adding weight in the right way, or if they're dropping weight in the right way, or if there's any complication, or maybe if there's any issue that is arising from the weight that the child has.
Okay.
We have said about having a bigger being obese, or maybe being over to maybe some of our children. What happens that maybe they have got so many complications, which some of them are long term and some of them are short term.
Yeah.
Like the cardiovascular issues, having asthma, having issues with breathing, because some of them also have what we call the high cholesterol levels in their bodies, which end up maybe having the cardiovascular issues and all that.
Yeah.
So it is something that can be well managed, bearing in mind with what are we focusing on.
Yeah.
So from our childhood age to our parents, I tell them maybe from today henceforth, if you have that baby, that child, always ensure that you take them to the clinic each and every month,
Yeah.
until they attain 5 years. Even right now in CBC, it's a rule, by the way. Before you take maybe before you enroll a child, maybe for the CBC, they are first requesting for the MCH booklet, the mother-child health booklet. So they are asking for it. They want to know how is the trend of the health of the baby. Are they immunized?
Yeah.
Are they going for their clinics and all that? So all
That's
this,
really good.
yeah, very good.
Yeah.
So it gives a very good blend of the child's health, right from the first step to the first step of weight management.
Yeah.
The number 2, also on immunization and all that. So it's something that is very key. So when you fast track all these things at a go,
Yeah.
it becomes so easy to bring up a child very well. Yeah. So let's not ignore.
Okay.
So take your child each and every month
Yeah.
for the weight monitoring and for the other growth monitoring, maybe promotion, like maybe the vitamin A supplementation,
Yeah.
the deworming supplementation and all that.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And you mentioned diabetes as one of the
Complications.
extreme
Yes.
complications. Apart from diabetes, what would be? Is there any other extreme that obesity would go to?
Yeah. Number 2, the cardiovascular issues,
Yeah.
the heart health. Yeah, it is also compromised, by the way. Yeah, whereby I've said maybe we have when there is too much fat in the body, what happens? The heart tends either to pump blood at a very high rate. So they tend, wanakaa ni kama they have breathing problems.
Yeah.
Either shortness of breath, breathing problems, asthma attacks them, maybe something. Also their immunity tends to be weakened in that kind of way.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now, I know we are almost winding up, but what would be your parting shot? Two things. So what would you tell someone that you've not realized that, my baby is overweight, or my baby is obese, and this is dangerous? What would you tell that mom or that parent?
The first thing is first to educate them. Tell them on the dangers, and also tell them on the benefits of how to. Yeah.
Okay.
Not primarily the kids, but the caregivers, or maybe the parents.
Yeah.
So focus on the dangers. Maybe just tell them, just educate them. Don't command them. Just educate them.
Yeah.
I'll tell them one thing, that when a baby has got too much weight, we have the short-term complications and the long-term complications. We have decreased calcium levels in the body whenever the weight is, because there is too much weight to the joints. We have the diabetes and all that.
Yeah.
We also have the cardiovascular issues like sleeping. The sleeping patterns, they're being detoured and all that. So when you give them such an education to them briefly, just tell them step A to step Z if it is right and if it's not right. When you give them that education, now they learn.
Okay.
Just tell them, you have a baby. Always ensure they go for the clinics monthly, up to 5 years of age.
Okay.
It becomes so well.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Now, second one. What would you tell a parent who they've already started the journey of making sure that their kids will go back to the right, to the BMI levels? But of course, it's a long journey. It's not a one day like this. So what would you tell these parents that they've started the journey?
I'll tell them one thing for sure, that self-discipline is key. Nothing else.
Okay.
Yeah.
So-
Self-discipline is key.
Okay.
Yeah. So once you are disciplined, you're going to achieve everything that you want to achieve. But if you play around, you're going to mess with a lot.
Yeah.
So if you have started, always ensure that you're going to fast track everything. You ensure that from is it meal planning?
Yeah.
Is it the physical activity? Is it behavioral change? Let's ensure that all these things are taken into considerations.
Yeah.
So if you have that, we have all that in one basket. Right from the dietary modifications, the promoting physical activity, going for the monthly clinics and all that, even if they're 3 years, even if they're going to school, just tell the teacher that tomorrow I'm taking my child for the clinic. Hiyo hata hautanyima ruhusa. So when you do all that, ukifanya hiyo mambo yote itakuwa tu sawa. So don't ignore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So also ignorance imefanya pia mambo imekuwa somehow bad and somehow maybe not working on well.
Yeah.
So but the best thing to do, that they always know one thing, that self-discipline is key. Self-discipline is key.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I hear you. Now, for the parents who are listening, for the people who are listening and they want to talk to you and maybe get some help, either for them or for the kids, do you have a number and where can they get you?
Yeah, I have a number. My phone number is 0723 4240 097. I'll repeat again, 0723 4240 97.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So through that number, they're going to find me, they're going to communicate, and I also believe we're going to help each other.
Okay.
Yes.
Physically, where are you found?
Physically, I'm found at Gilgil. Yeah, that's my location.
Gilgil.
Sub-County Hospital.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Doc, for having us in this conversation.
Yeah.
Maybe just taking us through and helping us unpack what obesity looks like.
Sure, sure.
Why it's important to make sure that we are at the right levels of our weights to be managed.
Sure. Yeah.
Asante sana for that. Now we're gonna have Brenda, and she will help us unpack this particular conversation in a few minutes. Now just take us through everything that Doc has said and help us understand what exactly does that look like. And then after that, tutakuwa tukimalizia na video, alafu tutakuwa tunaweza kipengele, which has been amazing. Thank you so much for staying. Thank you for being here. I know that you've learned something. If you still have any question, tumekupa nambari ya daktari, najua tunaweza kumpata, lakini pia sisi nambari zetu ziko wazi kabisa. Okay, very open. Hiyo ni 0710510105 kwenye WhatsApp ama 21314 23813 23814. Yes, should be that 23814. I say also, this is absolutely free. And of course, we've been live on Facebook and YouTube. You can always get to us through those platforms. But before we wind up, it's very important for us to just get to know what your take home is. And for us to go through that, we'll be having Brenda. Thank you so much, Doc. Asante sana once again. We are truly grateful. We've learned so much. And we can't wait to have you next time.
Thank you so
Talk
much.
about diabetes.
Yes.
Because that's something that we need to unpack as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. Asante sana. Salimia watu Belgium.
No, Salimia.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the chance. May God bless you. It's a nice session.
Amen.
Thank you.
Perfect. Brenda.
Hello and welcome to today's Pointers. My name is Brenda Kareji. Understanding what to feed and what not to feed your baby is crucial. Early nutrition choices can shape a child's long-term health. Childhood obesity is not just a phase. It often extends into adulthood, increasing the risk of chronic illnesses later in life. Obesity in children can lead to serious health complications, including musculoskeletal problems, asthma, sleep apnea, and even psychological stress. Preventing obesity starts with encouraging physical activity in a fun and friendly way. Simple activities like family walks, outdoor games, or running can make a big difference. Pediatric obesity can be effectively managed through a healthy lifestyle, starting with improved feeding habits and a well-balanced meal plan. Children with obesity are at much higher risk of developing type 2 diabetes, a condition that, while manageable, requires lifelong attention. Parents play a vital role and should not hesitate to seek professional help. Consulting a pediatrician or nutritionist can help guide a child's weight management journey. That was today's Pointers with me, Brenda Kareji. See you next